How's it going, folks? As you know, the lathe, this thing, is still out of action while we wait for the concrete to dry some more, which gives me a couple of days. And I've got this to play with. This is a Fender Squire Strat. It used to belong to a friend of mine that died a few months ago. His name was Daniel Lye, and his guitar ended up with me. So we're going to turn it into a tribute to Dan guitar, and it will go into my personal collection forevermore. So that's what we're going to do. So the last time you're going to see it looking like this. Now this guitar probably cost maybe £100. What's that, $120, something like that. Made in Indonesia, but not that it'll ever be for sale. But we're going to make it into something beautiful, put Dan's name on it, and that's what we're going to do. So, without further ado, let's get on with it. Bye bye strings.
So welcome back to the channel, folks. Now Fender have made a lot of guitars over the years, and Squire is their budget make, and even within the Squire brand there are different levels of Squire, depending on where they're made and how much they cost. This one's actually got a half decent neck on it. I believe it's a maple neck with a rosewood fretboard, and that looks like a rosewood truss rod cover down the back. Nothing special about the electronics or the bridge or any of the hardware. Or that horrible scratch plate, which has just got to disappear, I believe. I toyed with the idea of making it smaller so I could retain the pickup mountings, and I did that, and I haven't shown you any of that video because I ended up not bothering with it and threw it away, and I'm going to replace it with something else, which is yet to be decided. So first job is contouring, and you can see by the look on my face I was a bit surprised as to what I found underneath the paint.
Right, as you can see, it's made of plywood. But we're going to carry on. It's too late now.
It is too late now. So, in for a penny, in for a pound. We're going to do the best job we can with yet another plywood guitar. But I have to say, this is a lot better than that Peavey thing I did earlier in the year. Although this is plywood, it's actually half decent plywood, if there is such a thing. So the inspiration for the shape on this one, my guitarist in the band I play with has got an Ibanez that was specially made for him, and it's got a very thin edge, and I like the feel of that, so I wanted to try and do a Strat with a similar sort of edge profile, quite well, as thin as I could get it without being ridiculous. So I've just contoured it all the way around where I can. A lot of rasping, a lot of sanding, and then some more rasping and some more sanding just to get the contours feeling nice. Worst part of the guitar to do is inside those inner horns. Can't get a machine in there for love nor money. So it's all hand sanding in there. Had to be a bit careful around that cavity. I didn't want to take the wall down to a silly thickness. You see how dusty it was getting in there, the camera's fogging up. Finally moved up to a 240 grit pad on the 5-inch disc sander. And I eventually worked my way up to 800 grit. And there's a bit of rubbing alcohol going on just to take the dust off. To my mind, if you're going to make a plywood guitar, why not show off the plywood instead of hiding it under all that black paint? So here I've just got a bit of dust out the bottom of the bandsaw, and the holes that I'm not going to be using, just filling those up with some sawdust and some CA glue. Never going to make them go away entirely, but at least they haven't got holes in the guitar. It's actually quite nice grain on the top layer of that plywood. So here I'm just putting some shine juice on. I think this probably will be the finish that I will go for. I was tempted to colour it, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to leave it plywood coloured, because that are actually quite nice contrasting layers and interesting grains. And believe it or not, there's actually a bit of chatoyance going on in the plywood. You'll see when it's at the end of the video. You can catch it flashing every now and again. You know, I looked at the shape of this and the colour of it all afternoon, going, am I sure about this? I don't know. But now looking at it back, doing the commentary, sat in the studio, watching it on screen, I like it. I think it looks pretty cool. So I did a bit of work on the neck. That Fender headstock was just massive and ridiculous. You just don't need that much wood up there. So I chopped it all off. And we ended up with a headstock that looks more like something you might find on a metal guitar, as in a heavy metal guitar. But if you're going custom, you may as well go all the way custom. And it is a maple neck, so that shined up really nicely. I went to 1000 grit on the neck, just for a giggle. So there it is. End of day 1 on the plywood guitar. You can see the chatoyance in that green layer. I'd love to know what that wood is in the green layer. So I hope you've enjoyed following along with this video. I'm going to be doing part 2 tomorrow, where you will see whether or not I managed to get it finished. And then the day after that, we're going to be back to turning the giveaway bowl. And that's not going to take very long, so stay tuned. And if you haven't signed up for the competition, make sure you do, otherwise you will miss out in the next few days, because it's going to get done real fast once I get going. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.